Hi, welcome to Volume Tape Reading Strategy. In this class, we will discuss each and everything from the very beginning. Okay, let's start the class. Okay, this is my chart. This is the bar chart. I use bar chart because the opening and closing seems very clear in bar chart. That's why I use bar chart. If you are not familiar with bar chart, that is okay as well. You can convert this to candlestick chart as well. Doesn't matter whether you are using candlestick chart or bar chart, no matter. But I use bar chart because the opening and closing seems very clear in bar chart. That's why I use bar chart. Okay, below one is the volume indicator. By default, whatever it is, I use that. No changes in volume indicator as well. For example, insert indicator, volume indicator. So by default, whatever it is, I use that. I change only the colors. So if you are using some other colors, that is okay as well. The color doesn't matter, but I use this color. So if you make your color like this, that will be okay as well, because I may pronounce so many times the blue volume and the gray volume in this lecture. So if you make your color like this, so then you may understand my discussion very well. Otherwise, the color doesn't matter as well. Okay, the first thing what I do is I trade only on support resistance areas, no matter whatever time frame support resistance are there. For example, whether they're monthly support resistance area, weekly, daily, H4, H1, M30, M15, M5. Whatever time frame support resistance are there, I trade on that area, because it has so many benefits if you are trading on support resistance area. Because on the support resistance area, then we may have so less stop, we have to then put our stop so less, and we can generate a very good profit from that. So that's why it is so good to trade on support resistance area, no matter whatever time frame support resistance are there nearby. uh, in this strategy, you can trade without support resistance area as well, but my favorite one is the trading on support resistance area. Okay, what I do is I mark support resistance area on the higher time frame, then I go to the lower time frame and check that if there is any signal there, I trade that area. For example, on the monthly time frame, we check support resistance area nearby. I do not go in the history so far. I check only the nearby support resistance areas. Okay, after marking support resistance area on the monthly time frame, okay, after marking support resistance area on the monthly time frame, then I go to the weekly time frame. If there is anything remaining, I mark that as well. Then I go to the daily time frame and check that if there is anything nearby, so I mark that as well. Then I go to H4 time frame and mark the nearby support resistance area as well. Then I go to the H1 time frame. On H1 time frame and H4 time frame, I usually do not mark support resistance area because it seems very clear. So no need to mark that. If you marking that, that is okay as well. But I do not mark on H4, H1, etc. The lower time frames. Okay. After marking support resistance area, what I do is I find smart money large institute trades on that in that area. Okay, so before that we have to understand the volume indicator as well. Because we will detect smart money large players on the volume indicator, because the volume indicator represent the transactions on that time. For example, let's take this one. 9,499 transactions took place on that time. So the volume indicator represent transactions on that time. Okay, the blue volume is higher than the previous one, the gray one. Okay, so the blue volume is higher than the gray one. So if this is higher one, so that means the higher transaction took place there, and the higher and the more money invested in that area. So if people are putting more money in an area, so if the people are putting more money in an area, so that means that area is important for us as well. Okay. So for example, this is blue volume, this is higher than the previous one. This is also higher than the previous one. So that means the higher transaction is taking place. So if the higher transaction is taking place, so that area is important for us. So that means we will focus on the blue volume in the strategy so much because the blue volume represents the higher transaction, the more money. So that's why we will be focusing on the blue volume. So if you make your color like this, blue and gray or blue and yellow, so that will be okay as well. So because then you may understand my discussion very well, and because I may pronounce blue and gray so many times in this lecture. Okay, so after marking support resistance area, what we do is we trade on support resistance area. Okay, before trade, there are three things we have to look for before a trade. If there is any of these two nearby, we have to be alert. We will discuss three things which is so much important, but the third one is the key thing and the key point of the strategy, and the strategy is totally based on that, which is tape reading. I will discuss that later as well. But the two thing which is remaining, the two thing is so much important to look for before a trade. If there is any of these two, we have to be alert, be cautious, and we should not go against that. Okay, what are these two things? Let's say for example, let's check this. Yes, this one. Okay, higher time frame, then we check lower time frame step by step. Okay, after marking support resistance area, what we do is we have to look for at least two things to look for before a trade. These are the precautious thing, the dangerous thing, the important thing to look for before a trade. If there is any of these two nearby, we have to be alert and be cautious. The first thing is the big candle. The first thing is the big candle. For example, let's say this one and this one as well. Let's discuss this one. Okay, if we look at this, this is the volume for this candle, and if we check this area since this drop, there is no such candle, such big candle since this drop. So that means it is a big candle which shows irrelevant activity happen in the market. Some people call this change of behavior. Some people call this some other for okay, so I call this irrelevant activity. Irrelevant activity happen in the market. So be alert of the big candle. No matter whatever in the whatever time frame there is so big candle which have no similar activity nearby. So be alert because there is some activity happen in the market which didn't happen nearby. So that means big activity, the irrelevant activity happen in the market. Change of behavior happen in the market. In this case, this candle is so much big. No candle is similar like this since this drop, and it volume is so much big as well. No up candle similar like this have such big volume since this drop. So that means we got an alert from the smart money that something new happened in the market. Some irrelevant activity happened in the market. So whenever irrelevant activity happen in the market, so whenever a big activity, irrelevant activity happen in the market, we should not go against that. We should not go against that.